This program is brought to you as a community service of BAF Insurance. The views, opinions, and advice expressed by guests on this show are those of the guests and do not reflect the views, opinions, and advice of BAF Insurance. For medical advice, please visit your medical professional.
Your health, your wealth, your health, your wealth, your health for life. Your Health, Your Wealth is brought to you by BAF Insurance. Your health, our priority.
Welcome to Your Health, Your Wealth, brought to you by BAF Insurance. We can be heard each Wednesday from 6:30 a.m. to 7:30 a.m. on Bobo 89.1 FM. For the next hour, we will be discussing health trends. We're going to start by discussing healthcare, and then we're going to move into some other topics, including the pros and cons of intermittent fasting, also some ideas of how to hack your hormones for a better mood, and we're going to discuss a little bit about what is burnout. Of course, we're going to remind you, and we continue to remind you, that we are not medical practitioners, we're not professionals in any way. We're just two people who are interested in the health of everyone in our community, and we just enjoy like doing little researches and bringing these topics to light, or having little discussions in the media about it, you know. I think we're going to discuss a little bit about social media and whether it's a positive, if it has a positive impact or a negative impact on how we access information as well. And how does it affect our health, our mental health, you know?
Exactly. And that's one of the things I think we need to really take a look at is improving everyone's mental health, opting for great ideas for rest and, you know, taking advantage of the outdoors, because we have a great, beautiful island here. And I will tell you, we probably don't even get a third of the wonderful free use of it, which is getting out in the sun and walking and being along the beach, getting some fresh air. I mean, these are practices that helped our, I want to say, former generations live to ages of 80, 90, and even 100 with very little medical, I would say, intervention.
Yep.
And nowadays, we think of longevity of life as being going to the doctor, and all of the medical advances have extended life. But one of the things that has shortened our life is the way how we live.
Right. And our lack of actual self-care,
right.
You know. And then we also need to clear up the common misconception that self-care is not being selfish. It's not self-indulgence. It's not that you're neglecting anyone else, but you cannot pour from empty. Mm-hmm. So if you don't take care of yourself, you therefore can't take care of anyone else, and you can't deal with the matters that happen from day to day. And our day-to-day living has gotten so crazy and so hectic. Every time you turn on the news, it's probably something negative or something that's going to negatively impact the way you feel about something. Mm-hmm. It's hardly anything positive, you know.
Exactly.
And it means that we actually have to take time out to like sleep properly, eat properly, exercise often, you know.
And I will say that is one of the, I would say, the simplest thing that we can do for ourselves is get a regimen of rest. And you will say, Chuck, what's a regimen of rest? A regimen of rest is literally giving your body time to heal, recover, mentally slow down, and also physically rest.
And not to have things going through your mind, like trying not to, because a lot of times we feel that we can't control our thoughts, but we actually do control our thoughts. Mm-hmm. So what we have to do is replace those crazy, busy thoughts that are going nuts in our brain, like keeping us up at night, and put something else there that's helping us to relax. So some people find that it helps to meditate. Mm-hmm. Other persons, I'm like one of those that probably I'm a little harder, because I think about what I'm thinking about. So I'm like thinking about, why am I thinking that I have to stop thinking? Uh-huh. So it's kind of hard.
and you know what? Each person will be different. And that's the thing that I want our listeners to be aware of, that rest for me may be different from rest from you. What gets you to that sleepy point? You know, maybe having drinking a glass of warm water or something
or
warm,
some warm milk
or something like that to put you in that mood. Or maybe it may be, you know, how they used to say, the old people, you count sheep, you know, count backwards.
Yeah, count backwards,
And the 100 and things like that. Whatever it is, there's going to be a trial and error method for a little while till you figure out what works for you. But the trick is, don't get disheartened by it.
Yeah.
Don't think that you are alone in doing this. And the thing I will tell you, with the advent of the internet, and I say this all the time, Dr. Google and those are tools for you to find information.
Yes.
Now you have to look, because generally the first set of information probably is
not the best.
Not the best.
Yeah.
But you have to look at reputable sources, cross-reference, spend a little time. I would say even once a week, spend an hour or two on you, finding information to better your existence. You go to reputable websites, and you go to where doctors and people in the industry are having that conversation.
And also keep in mind that self-care is anything that feels good to you, whether it's hanging out with friends or maybe just being by yourself, like maybe just on a lounge chair outside looking at the moon or enjoying the sunrise or whatever it is, sitting on the beach with a couple of friends and a glass of wine or anything that makes you feel good. Whatever it is, then that is what is called self-care.
I will tell you, my secret, and this is a radio station thing, there is a thought called sound therapy. I want my listeners to be enjoyed by this music. So I won't play certain music that has certain instrumentation into it, or there won't be certain above a certain level of loudness, certain dBs. So it's
dBs meaning decibels.
Decibels, sorry.
Okay.
And there's a certain mathematical idea and mathematical equation that gets you right in that golden mean area.
Okay.
That your voice and the music that you play puts a person in a relaxing mood, and also a mood for interpretation. You are more open to ideas and thoughts and receiving that.
Yes.
So, sometimes you'll hear them say, you hit the bell and you rub the corner, and, those types of things. There is a certain amount of realism to it. Of course, some people go overboard with it, and that's okay too. But there is a certain amount of healing that comes from sound therapy.
Right.
So it's something to look into.
Yeah. And also, self-care also means that we actually have to do some inner work. Like we have to you need to know that you have to know exactly where you are. So you have to ask yourself, sometimes you have to ask yourself difficult questions like, am I really okay mentally? Am I okay physically? How do I feel emotionally? Do I need to talk to someone? Do I need a little extra help? And that is okay as well. And I think that especially in our culture, where we're all supposed to be so strong and so stoic. And you hear that every day, no matter what it is that you're going through, everyone keeps saying, oh, you're so strong, or you're strong, be strong, you're going to be okay. Sometimes you're not going to be okay.
And I think our upbringing as a West Indian culture has always been one of, you can do it, you're strong, you can go out there and conquer it. You had and not saying this is the soul, but you've had a passing of a family member. You can be strong. You got to show strength. But there are times that you are going to break down. And
you need to, because you have to let those emotions flow in order to even start to heal.
Right.
Because
there has to be some of that.
Yeah, because you know what? There's times when since COVID happened, just take that for instance, because that's like the thing that has probably started a lot of people's decline in the way that the situation that they're presently in. A lot of things happened in COVID. People lost their employment. Some people lost family members. Some people lost multiple family members at one time. I mean, there was a story in the news sometime where I think like one person, like he lost like 7 persons.
Yeah.
Like he lost like his mother, his father, his aunt, his sisters, his brother.
That takes a toll on you.
You're burying all these people. First of all, in COVID, you weren't even allowed to be with them while they were dying. And then to have to go through all of that planning and preparation of services for the different family members at different times. I mean, you can't even begin to fathom what that grief did to that person.
Right.
And then the thing is, because we have to remember, self-care means that we're consciously taking care of ourselves. We're not leaving that responsibility to someone else. Because sometimes if you think that there's other people that's going to come to your rescue, they're already going through things of their own. It's not that it's a bad intention.
It's a silent suffering that you may not be aware of.
Right.
The reality of it is everybody hurts. Everybody has pain. Everybody has a cross to bear. Now, each one may be different, yes, but the pain and the going through it is the same.
Yeah.
But some people, and I even say our culture tends to suffer in silence.
In silence,
You
yeah.
know, it's like, okay, well, you know, so and so had a, you know, and we're just using a passing of a family member, because grief is generally the most recognizable one. You can see that from a distance. But who goes to, you know, before they used to bring food and you sit down and talk, and there was that kind of camaraderie. Now you don't have that very often.
No, not very often.
You
You
know,
still have it, but
yeah.
it's not the normal.
It's not the normal
yeah.
where if someone in the community passed, everyone from that community congregated to their house or congregated to a location. You know, that just isn't the norm anymore. Now, family members may do it. Yes, we understand that. But the whole outbringing, and also a lot of times family don't know what you may be seeing because they're seeing it from a different
Yes,
point of view.
exactly.
So that professional help, that professional person to say, okay, you know what? There are 7 stages of grief. You know, they break it down,
in stages,
into understandable, because this is something that has been discussed before.
Right.
And it's discussed from a clinical point of view, not an emotional point of view, because when you put emotion into a lot of what we're talking about, it tends to
Change the
landscape.
Yeah, it does. And another thing is, you know, that sometimes you'll encounter, you know, sometimes you need, I don't know. I have a friend that she basically goes to mass almost daily. And I have found that attending mass with her sometimes, it's a kind of a peaceful kind. It makes your day different. It really does. Even going into the Peace Chapel with her, she does something else. Obviously, I sit and read, or I sit and just meditate. But I mean, it's whatever. Like, I like to use whatever floats your boat, whatever makes you feel good. If it makes you feel good to sit in a tub full of bubbles and have candles burning, or you feel like sitting in a tub full of bubbles with the jets going and making whatever makes you feel good. If it makes you feel good to put your head under a pipe with cold water running in your face, whatever makes you feel good, whatever floats your boat, that is what you do for your self-care.
Right. Sometimes I tell people, you need to break the normal cycle of what you're doing. You know,
yes.
We get into this habitual mood, I call it. And now it's not a real mood, but the mood is, okay, you get up in the morning, you do this, you go to work, you do this, 12 o'clock you do this, 2 o'clock you do this, 5 o'clock you're driving, 7 o'clock you're home, 10 o'clock you're sleeping.
Yeah.
You know, and you do that so much that your body is in that autopilot. So to get out of that mood, if you do something different, now you're going walking in the evening, or you're going to visit friends, or you're going to have a $5 dinner somewhere. Of course, that's
that must be the drive-through.
Yeah, you know, whatever.
One item to share.
Yeah. So long you do something different to break that mood, you know, that changes your attitude towards that. Now you're adding something else into it. And normally I tell people, when you're adding things into your life, add something positive and healthy.
Yeah.
If you not a church person, fine. Go to the movies.
Yeah.
If you're a church person, go to a different church.
Yeah.
You know, do something that is a little bit different so that you can have more in your cup.
You know that we have a lot of things to do on the island, but as locals, we don't optimize what we have, because we have, what's it called? I mean, I used to call it Turtle Farm. It's not called that anymore.
Oh yes, the Turtle Conference.
Whatever.
Turtle
we have
Center,
that.
the Turtle
but they
Center.
have, like, you can go there, you can relax. There's a restaurant there. There's a lagoon there. Even if you're not going in the lagoon, just sitting there and hearing the waterfalls. There's a whole there's an aviary place where they have the birds. There's
I've gone there.
But when last have you gone there?
And see, the thing about it is, because we live on an island, we do things when family and friends come here.
into town.
And you're like, okay, I got to find something to do with them. But the reality,
that thing is always there. You can always go to the Botanic Gardens.
You can do these things.
And they have so much things at the Botanic Garden. I've seen pictures lately. They have hammocks set up there and everything. It's really relaxing, you know?
One of the things I always say is, do something that involves your hands and your brains. I love when they have the teaching touch, and they'd have the cooking classes and these things. You get involved with that idea, because what that does is that gives you a sense of, I'm doing something more than working that 9 to 5. And we know how the 9 to 5, when you come off, you're like, okay, what do I have to do tomorrow?
Do I have to stop at the store tonight to get a couple of things off of this list?
Right.
Or what time does this place close? I have to go rush in there. But just slow it all down. Just do not. How about doing nothing?
That is the most important something sometimes for people who have that busy existence. And sometimes the reality is you can't do nothing but slow it down, because maybe you have kids, maybe you have a mom or a dad that you take care of, and you really can't step away from them, but you can plan things when you can have a little bit of time to yourself. Whether it's a sitter, whether it's, a family member coming over. These are all bits and pieces that give you a more enjoyable existence. And that's the most important thing that we want to do, is increase your lifestyle.
Yes, and also, as you're speaking, what comes to me is the serenity prayer that goes, God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. So that in itself is telling you, if you can't keep up with it's not everything in this world that you're going to be able to keep up with that you want to. So just be at peace, literally. And once you can find that equilibrium between peace and chaos, and you can actually slow it down enough to enjoy a little bit of peace, I think we get to enjoy what life is really supposed to be.
Exactly.
And I might make a small suggestion. It's not that difficult to pack a towel in a bag, in a beach bag or in a plastic bag. It really doesn't matter it's not that hard to get a beach chair if you so desire. And you can literally take a change of clothes and just go to the beach after work. If you don't want to even go all the way in and get all
Sit
the
down
way
and
wet.
watch the sunset.
Exactly. Carry some mosquito repellent so that's not an excuse.
And with that being said, we're going to take a break right now. And you're listening to BAF.
Your Health, Your Wealth with Desiree and
Chuck Taylor. We'll be right back.
We'll be right back.
Your health, your wealth, your health, your wealth, your health for life. Your Health, Your Wealth is brought to you by BAF Insurance. Your health, our priority.
If you're just joining us, you're listening to Your Health, Your Wealth with Desiree and Chck on Bobo Radio. We're here with you until 7:30 with a host of health tips and information, as well as a special guest to help you and your loved ones live healthier, happier lives.
And remember, the Be Well, Be Healthy for Life podcast with Lady K is also sponsored by BAF Global Group and can be found on YouTube, Spotify, TuneIn, iHeartRadio, Podcast Addict, and Podbean podcast platforms. Her episodes are released weekly on the BAF Facebook page as well. Do you know what time it is?
What time is it?
It's that time when we reach out to one of our wonderful representatives from BAF, and they tell us in 3 minutes all the wonderful things about the company.
Who do we have this morning?
We have Miss Ann this morning, one of your colleagues.
And she only has 3 minutes, right?
Only 3 minutes.
First question. What do you do at BAF Insurance?
I am the supervisor at BAF Insurance. I manage the daily administrative function and customer service.
If you could choose one thing that makes BAF stand out from the other insurance companies for your clients, what would that one thing be?
We provide exceptional customer service to all our clients, irrespective of the level of service required.
When someone applies for health insurance with BAF, how long does it take for them to be approved and for the insurance to become effective?
Our turnaround time for approval is 3 to 5 business days. If the policy is approved between the 1st to the 15th of the month, the policy becomes effective the 1st of that month. If it's after the 15th, then it becomes effective the 1st of the following month.
So tell me a little bit now about the claims process. If I have a BAF health insurance plan and I make a claim, how quickly can I expect to have my claim settled?
The turnaround time for claim settlement is 3 to 5 business days, provided that the claim form is filled out with the correct information. We also have an online portal through which providers can submit their claims, which help to make the process a lot more efficient.
And Miss Ann, if someone wanted to get in contact with you, how would they be able to do that?
You can call us at 949-5089, or my direct number is 814-25 22.
Great. Time's up, Ann. If you're just joining us, you're listening to Your Health, Your Wealth with Desiree and Chck on Bobo Radio. We're here with you until 7:30 a.m. with a host of health tips and information, as well as a special guest to help you and your loved ones live healthier, happier lives.
Your health, your wealth, your health, your wealth, your health for life. Your Health, Your Wealth is brought to you by BAF Insurance. Your health, our priority.
And we are back, folks. Welcome to BAF, Your Health, Your Wealth. My name is Chuck Taylor, and I have with me
Desiree.
And we've been talking about
health trends.
Health trends. And I wanted to say we're in that idea of social media houses. When I say social media houses, is everyone, their phone is automatically their TV.
Getting alerts. We get alerts. I get alerts.
Yeah, your phone is your TV. It is your internet. It is your computer. It is literally your health resource, because you can put in times to get up, time to drink water, time to use the restroom, time to take pills. Literally there's an app for everything that you want to do. They have an app to tell you how much steps you walk, all of this stuff. But are you using it in a positive manner? Are you looking at videos and saying, oh, I'm too fat, I'm too skinny, I'm too, this one is doing better. It is, the chat box and those influence marketing techniques. Oh, you don't need carbs, and the
need
virtual
more protein, and no
virtual
sugar,
reality, and the social listening and the argumentative reality that they have.
And what about all the major news networks with all the wars and the bombings?
And all of these things, make sure you use it in a positive manner. There's a ton of resources out there on TikTok, on Facebook,
Instagram,
Instagram, and all these other social networking that you can find healthcare socially. In other words, check with people like BAF. We have some really great social media tools on YouTube, on Facebook, on Spotify, all of these things. And that's a starting point.
Yes, it is.
And there are great things. So if you're looking to take your center stage for your health, if you want it to be your priority, your center, you have to use these tools in a productive manner. Like I make sure that everything that on my side is a plus. So once I start seeing it, and remember, folks, they have algorithms. We're going to get a little technical now. Mm-hmm. They have algorithms that look at what you look at. So if they throw in a war video and you watch that, it makes a counter that say, oh, this is something you like. Let me give you more.
Yes, it does that. It does, because I've noticed that when I look at a lot of, like, say if I go on YouTube and I watch a slew of health videos on supplements or whatever,
they give you more.
Then they give you more. So until I change what I'm looking at, I keep getting like more and more. So I keep getting all these different doctors and physiotherapists and people in Pilates.
So go to the positive stuff. One of my favorite go-tos is natural foods. How to grow natural foods, what they're good for. Certain trees, certain herbs and things like that. And I find that when I do that, it starts giving me more positive stuff. Every now and again, they may throw in a little negative one to test you. It's like, let me see if this is really what you're looking for. But if you swipe or you get through it pretty quickly, it'll give you something there. And that's one of the things I think that you really, really need to take a look at. You have to spend time. One of the things I say as the trends is, copy and paste. You have a tendency to see something, you'll copy it, and then you'll paste it looking for it. Be creative with your words. Yes. So I look for Caribbean health. I use music. So my one is music for walking healthy. Things of that nature. So it gives me all of this information to help me. So I'm using my phone and computer and things of that as a tool. So
to get you to think
even my watch, I wear it all the time because it tracks how much I walk. Okay. Because I don't remember. So I tried not to, we don't have too much elevators here, but we try not to like, okay, I'm sitting down, I'll call somebody, say, oh, no problem, I'll go walking up down the steps. And I don't realize. So when at the end of the day, I'm like, oh, wow, I did 9,000, 10,000 steps.
Yeah, you got in your steps.
I got my steps in.
Yeah. I was even noticing that on the website that I was looking at, everydayhealth.com, it was talking about self-care. And then it came up with this thing about making your bed. And I was like, I think not. I don't think that has anything to do with self-care. I don't know what you think, Chuck, but making my bed? No, I don't think that was on the list.
You know what making your bed does? Making your bed makes you not want to get back into it.
Really? I guess I would never know that.
I have proven that point on many a days. I walked up and I jumped out and rushing out in the morning time. And I look at the bed like, man, that bed looked good. I should just climb back inside of it and go back to sleep. That's why making your bed gets you. You can laugh, Des.
I'm gonna laugh because I'm not putting it on my list of self-care. Listen. I am the friend that you literally do not even have to entertain if I come to visit you. Okay, all I need is a TV, a remote, possibly, because once I get it set on some channel, I can literally probably fall asleep.
You're good to go.
And I need a pillow and a blanket, and that is it. I'm not fixing any bed.
Exactly. And here's one for you. This is one of the trends that I say, we are living in the Caribbean. We are all about our skincare. And we've talked about this from last week because it's been super, super hot over the last couple of weeks. Make sure you take care of your skin. And this is one of the trends that I won't say it's a trend, but it's something constant. And I think we need to make sure that we talk about it, making sure that we use toners and things of that to help exfoliate the skin, and also use moisturizer and also take care of it. Because when you think about it, 90% of us outside don't wear hats. We laugh about it. And I say, oh, man, you know what? We're out in the sun. And literally within 2 days, I'm sunburned. And I'm like, oh, man.
Yes, you are.
Where's this coming from? I haven't been in the sun that long, but you have been, because every time you jump out of your car, running to the grocery store, going to office, getting food, picking up the kids, all of those little bits and pieces add up.
They do.
So in the morning when you get up, make sure you have a very healthy skin care regimen. Something that, can take you 5 minutes.
And something that's sustainable.
Sustainable, yes.
Yes. Another thing, Chuck, to get started with a self-care routine, we actually have to make some conscious decisions. One of them, we have to determine what is it that we actually like. Like, do you actually like sitting on the beach to watch the sunset, or would you rather walk around the track? Or would you rather sit and color? Because they do have adult coloring books, right?
Oh yeah.
And they have a lot of other things. They have puzzles that you can sort out for yourself, or what. So what is it that you actually like? So you have to figure out first what is it that you actually like, and then you actually have to make a change. But try not to be so try not to commit yourself to something like, oh, I'm going to do it 5 times for the week, or I'm going to do it every single day.
Yeah,
because
smart.
The thing is small. So say maybe I'll do it 2 times for the week, whatever it is, even if, because now they have a lot of mobile spa services that'll actually come to you. And some of these services actually work quite late in the night. Some of them, the last appointment you can schedule is maybe 9:30.
Right.
So if you're a person that enjoys a nice massage, whatever kind of massage it is, you can schedule it. They can come to your house and you can go straight from the massage table into your bed for a nice comfortable sleep. And then you just build up the things that you actually like, and then you try to schedule them. I personally find that weekends are hard for me because I know from Monday to Friday I need to be at the office, and that's fine. Friday night starts to be hard because everybody's kind of going off to do their own thing, and I have grown kids and they're doing their own thing, and so it's a little difficult for me. So I have had to learn, and I am not talking about like a long time ago. I'm talking about in the recent past. I've had to learn that I have to schedule my weekends. So I have to make plans for a Friday night. I have to make plans for a Saturday. Now, Saturday is hard because I'm not getting up to go to work and I want to sleep late. But then I try to schedule something to do or something that I have to do for someone or something that somewhere that I have to be.
Right.
And then I try not to call and reschedule because I'm good at that as well. I'm a real no-show queen. You know, so I'm trying to get better at it. So it's something that you definitely have to work on no matter what age you are. And especially if you're coming off of a workaholic vibe.
Right.
Because that's basically the vibe that I was on for a very long time until COVID interrupted all of that, you know? So,
And that's the reality of it. Each person, for me, one of my things is I do monthly projects. My goal is, okay, I got 30 days to get this thing done. And these are for my weekends. So, you know, I'm out and about, you know, my lifestyle is I'm out for radio. So I'm out and about a lot. So when it's my time for downtime, my downtime is literally around the house, around the kids, making sure I'm doing that. And so I'll pick things that can involve with them. I'm like, okay, guys, this month we're cleaning up our social media. Come sit down with me. I sit down with you, and we're going to go through all of our social media and clean that up. And it, I give them heads up because there are things that I may not want them to see, or things that they may not want me to see.
so they have the option of
So
getting it
they
cleared
have
up
to
before,
get it cleaned up before the family
sit
sits down and
right.
do it. And the reason why we do it is two things. It lets everyone into one sphere, one circle, especially with social media. And I don't know their friends.
Yes.
And because I got teenagers,
Right.
so I don't know their friends, and they don't know all of my friends. So they're like, "Oh, that's so and so, mom and dad. How did you know them?" I'm like, "Okay, yeah, I know them from work, or I know them from this event, and we went to the like." Oh, so you got to pick things that kind of bring you together holistically.
Yes. And if you have adult children like I do, you know, everybody's kind of gone off to live their own life at this point in time, right? So sometimes you will find that you're kind of like at a loss because you're coming out of the era when you were shuttling everybody from one activity to other. You know, at one point in my life, I did a lot of the Truman Bodden Sports Complex kind of lifestyle.
Right.
You know,
Every weekend.
weekend and during the week and after work, and I had to make sure that I could pick this one up, and then we had to do trips, and it was one thing to the. Now I'm kind of like left alone, and I found myself that I was a little lost. It's not like an emptiness thingy,
Right.
but I'm lost because I'm like, what do I like? And there was a point when I really liked to read, but I for some reason kind of got away from that. So now I'm trying to get back into reading more or even journaling. And then the thing is, sometimes you're going to find yourself journaling. Well, for me, which is probably not anything to say over the air, but sometimes I end up having to journal in different books because I just start journaling in one, and then I abort that project, and then
And then you
and then
change to a
later
different
on,
one.
and then sometimes it's like an idea for a short story. Something is just things that I'm grateful for. Sometimes it's just I'm just venting about something that I'm feeling or whatever it is, you know. But at the same time, that may work for some persons. Some persons it won't work for, you know what I'm saying? Sometimes people like quiet. Sometimes people like, because there's times when I like to be around people and I like to be out
then,
and about, and
then there's
being
that
me,
moment that you just need to be
by
by yourself.
Yes.
And I think people have to understand themselves to know when those points are, because you can be, you know, there's a wonderful saying that you can be in a room full of people
And still be alone.
and still be alone.
Yes.
And the reality is that happens more than we know. And so you have to kind of look at it like, where do I stand? You know, focus on lifestyle and health, not rules and scales.
Right.
You know, you have to, there's no perfect
And
eating
there's
habit.
there's no exact plan. There's no manual to say you do A and then A is going to take you to B, or you do part 1 and part 2 and part 3 and then that's not how life works. It's
Right.
like, you know, it's not a static situation. It's constantly moving and evolving, you know.
And that's part of your growth. And I think we don't talk about growing enough, because we say, okay, we're an adult. We think that because you're an adult, the growing has stopped. That's one step. Now you need to grow as an adult. And that adult may be, hey, I'm into running, I'm into reading, I'm into drawing, I may find
I'm into the gym. Some people start weight training or they start some other physical activity that you're like, I didn't even know this person was interested in this, but that's what they like and it makes them happy and that's okay. And another thing is, if you're listening to us this morning and you're feeling like we're speaking to you personally, take a few hours this week or a little bit of time by yourself and try to figure out what it is you like. If it means that you have to drive in the car and do a little performance to figure out what genre you like and that you may just like to go and perform on a Thursday night somewhere to do some karaoke, if that makes you happy, well then do that.
Whatever sprinkles of joy,
whatever makes you happy. When we come back from the break, we want to go into talking a little bit about the pros and cons of intermittent fasting.
Sounds like a plan.
Okay.
Keep it right here. This is BAF, Your Health, Your Wealth. We get together each and every Wednesday morning from 6:30 a.m. till 7:30 a.m. and we talk about your health, talk shop realistically. And you know what? When we come back, we are going to be letting Lady K come on in, and she's going to talk to us, and then we'll be back with talking about intermittent fasting.
Your health, your wealth, your health, your wealth, your health for life. Your Health, Your Wealth is brought to you by BAF Insurance. Your health, our priority.
Today on Be Well, Be Healthy for Life, Lady K, your wellness coach, talks about how your emotional health affects your physical health.
The connection between our emotions and our physical health is well researched and documented. Children who feel loved and accepted are generally healthier emotionally and physically than those who are not. The same is true for adults. Upbeat and positive emotions can reduce stress, lower blood pressure, and even help with weight loss. Feelings of excitement and happiness propel us to socialize and be active, leading to better overall health. Meanwhile, negative feelings such as grief and hurt cause us to isolate and become inactive. Emotional health is complex and is so much more than just feelings. Our bodies produce hormones, which we often call happy hormones. Serotonin stabilizes mood, gives a feeling of well-being and happiness. Dopamine manages pleasure and plays a key role in rewarding our brains. Oxytocin produces that feeling of love and bonding that comes with friendship, while endorphins manages pain and helps us to relax. The more happy hormones released in our bodies is the more likely we are to feel well, both mentally and physically. And the more physically active we are, it's the more hormones our bodies release. The relationship is symbiotic and unavoidable. Here are a few tips to help better manage your emotional health and in turn, your overall well-being. Be conscious of how you're feeling and your reactions to stimuli around you. The serenity prayer will help you here. Lord, give me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Think before you speak or act. Try counting to 50 in your head, giving you time to decide if responding is useful and how to respond. It really works. Express your feelings. Don't bury them within you. It's important to say what you need to say, but take time to formulate how you will express those feelings in appropriate, healthy ways. Get active, physically and purposefully. Find some purpose in life that gives you joy. Connect socially. Develop and nurture relationships outside of work and family. Having even one friend to share fun times or vent frustrations with is very important to your emotional health. Finally, make every effort to manage your stress. The feeling of being overwhelmed or stressed can seriously affect your mental, emotional, and physical health. Strive for balance and take the time to do something that brings you joy every day.
Be Well, Be Healthy for Life is brought to you by BAF Global Group. Remember, always consult your doctor before starting any new health and wellness regimen. BAF Global Group offers life, health, and general insurance plus a full suite of financial solutions in the Bahamas, life insurance in the Turks and Caicos Islands, and affordable individual and group health insurance in the Cayman Islands. Visit us at mybafsolutions.com.
So, Chuck, we're back with Your Health, Your Wealth. We're here with you every Wednesday morning, 6:30 a.m. to 7:30 a.m. My name is Desiree, and you're here with Desiree and
Chuck Taylor.
And right now, we're going to discuss some of the pros and cons of intermittent fasting. Of course, we know food. Of course, we know food is fuel for our bodies, but getting the right balance of calories and nutrients can be tricky. Intermittent fasting is one approach to eating that's gained a lot of popularity. But is it a smart strategy or a passing fad? What is intermittent fasting? A fast is just a stretch of time when you go without eating. Intermittent fasting is an eating plan where you alternate between eating and not eating for a certain amount of time. But how much time? That depends. There are lots of options to choose from. In the scientific world, you would have to go at least 12 hours for it to be considered a fast. Time-restricted eating plans are some of the most approachable models. These plans, you can eat every day, but only during certain windows. You may eat all of your meals and snacks between 10 a.m. and 6 p.m., then fast the other 16 hours a day. Some people choose 6-hour windows for eating, others 10 or 12. More intense intermittent fasting plans follow the so-called 5-2 approach. You eat normally for 5 days a week, and on the other 2 days, you dramatically restrict your diet, cutting calories by at least 75%. So, for example, if you normally have 2,000 calories a day, you eat no more than 500 calories on the fast days. But this is a more extreme approach, and it's definitely not for everyone. Always talk to a healthcare provider before trying any low-calorie meal plans. One of the pros that is listed for intermittent fasting benefits is that it assists in persons that have issues with high blood pressure. It helps to lower cholesterol. It helps with weight loss. It improves your blood sugar levels. It decreases the inflammation in your body, and it's also good for brain health. It also aids in you having less age-related diseases and overall just living a longer life.
Well, this is something that I am well versed in because a lot of years have been spent, either working out and then you fast for high protein diets and things of that nature. Before you do any of that, always, please talk to your healthcare provider before doing any sorts of fasting, and also. How people bulk up for food and they eat a lot of high calorie intake for short periods of times for working out and traveling and things of that nature. One of the things I always say, one of the things about fasting is that it can be dramatic or very indramatic depending on how you do. But as always, make sure you talk to a healthcare provider before doing and changing up any of your eating habits that drastically. One of the things I will say is, for me personally, I have stopped using salt for about 15, 16 years now. I was just saying, you know what, my family has a high proximity to blood pressure raising due to salt and cholesterol and things of that nature. So I made a decision.
So you have a history, like a family history?
Yeah, family history of hypertension
okay.
and high blood pressure. So I made a decision just to remove salt because literally salt is in everything already. Why would I want to add more salt to it? So I found different herbs to taste.
And they have alternatives as well.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be expensive,
No, it isn't.
Like
it really isn't.
Yeah.
But they have salt alternates as well, which I saw some of those. And another thing you were saying about making sure that you actually check with a medical practitioner or your GP or whoever you go to about before you start any fasting. And there's actually some warnings there, and they're saying, like, for persons who are over 65, if you're still growing, if you're a child, teenager, young adults, and you haven't finished developing, if you have diabetes, if you have heart, kidney, or liver disease, if you have a history of an eating disorder or you have disordered eating, if you're pregnant or breastfeeding, or if you have low blood pressure or take any kinds of medications, you definitely need to check with a medical professional before you start any kind of fasting.
Yeah. And I know a lot of people do the kind of, oh, my gut is getting too big, let me cut it up.
something drastic.
Do something drastic, like
Yes.
cutting down what you
On
eat.
carbs and
and
sugars
carbs and,
and-
and
yes.
probiotics and things of that nature. So without being repetitive of what they're saying, go see your healthcare practitioner before you change anything.
Yeah.
You don't know all the consequences that it can have, so this is the best thing to do. Speaking of consequences, let's talk to Lady K. She is up next. We'll be right back as we take a quick break. You're listening to Your Health, Your Wealth, compliments of BAF Insurance.
On 89.1 Bobo Radio.
Your health, your wealth, your health, your wealth, your health for life. Your health, your wealth is brought to you by BAF Insurance. Your health, our priority.
Today on Be Well, Be Healthy for Life, Lady K, your wellness coach, talks about pre and probiotics.
So much has been said over the last few years about the need to add pre and probiotics to our daily routines for maximum health. Our digestive system is home to a vast number of friendly bacteria that aid in digesting the food we eat. Probiotics help to keep the colony of bacteria balanced by feeding on prebiotics, the type of fiber that the body cannot digest. Both pre and probiotics are present in many foods and support the body's gut and digestive system. People who eat a varied, healthy diet do not need to take these supplements to maintain their health, since prebiotics are present in fiber-rich foods such as fruits, vegetables, and whole grains, and probiotics are present in fermented foods such as yogurt, kombucha, and many cheeses. Many of my own friends keep a bottle of kombucha or kefir handy for those days your stomachs just feel out of sorts. A few sips seems to help, but let me remind you that this is a personal experience and not science-based. Nevertheless, if you're one of the millions of people who suffer from digestive disorders or stomach distress, there is evidence that taking pre and probiotics could provide some relief because they potentially increase the good bacteria that aids digestion. Some studies have shown that taking probiotics while on antibiotics may lessen antibiotic-induced diarrhea, and it aids the body in recovering more quickly after the course of antibiotics is over. Because so many diseases may be linked to our diets, the better our digestive system works, the less frequently we will suffer from everyday illnesses such as colds and even yeast infections. Yeast infections in women are common, and they can have disastrous effects on our bodies. Yeast flourishes on the bad bacteria in our bodies, but cannot live where good bacteria thrives. There are some studies that suggest that prebiotics help in improving calcium absorption. It increases metabolism and speeds up the process of carbohydrates in our body. And although many natural medicine practitioners are confident in the role pre and probiotics play in maintaining good health, the scientific and medical community are still researching. In the final analysis, there seems to be so much more to learn about pre and probiotics and its effects. There are literally hundreds of brands to choose from, all purporting to be better than the other, with a variety of billions of colony-forming units or CFUs. And since our bodies have individual needs, what works best for one person may not work best for you. Plus, many may have hidden ingredients such as lactose, which instead of making my friend feel better, made her feel worse. She found out after trying several different brands that they all contain lactose, for which she has an intolerance. So, talk to your doctor before you begin a course of pre and or probiotics. They're not a one-size-fits-all type of supplement.
Be Well, Be Healthy for Life is brought to you by BAF Global Group. Remember, always consult your doctor before starting any new health and wellness regimen. BAF Global Group offers life, health, and general insurance plus a full suite of financial solutions in the Bahamas, life insurance in the Turks and Caicos Islands, and affordable individual and group health insurance in the Cayman Islands. Visit us at mybafsolutions.com.
And we are back, folks. Welcome to BAF Insurance, Your Health, Your Wealth, as we talk about things that are relatable to you. My name is Chuck Taylor, and with me I have the...
Desiree.
I was just about to say your name. And so let's talk about hormones. Hormones, to better your mood? How can you hack them and make them do what you need them to do? Now, hormones are chemicals produced by different glands throughout the body. They travel through the bloodstream, and they literally act as messengers and play part in your bodily processing. So they help regulate all the things from your moods to feelings to happiness to pleasure, positivity. All of these things are literally comes down to several hormones. And the happy hormones, and I hope you're listening to me, serotonin. Now, this hormone and neurotransmitter helps regulates the moods and makes it for your sleeping, appetite, digestive, your ability to learn, and also your memory. So when they talk about your serotonin levels and they start asking these questions, these are specifically what they're looking for. How do you sleep? You know, you've been eating okay? These are questions that doctors and also you should ask yourself. You know, my digestive, has it been good? You know, my ability to retain information and also learn, has it been slipping? Am I forgetting things more than I normally do? Or am I not focused, not clear? The clarity isn't there. That is a direct relation to a serotonin. The other one that I'm going to call the love hormone, you know what that is, Des?
Is it oxytocin?
Oxytocin, that's right. Now, this is essential.
Why are you testing me?
I'm not testing you. Well, actually, I am. This is essential for the ladies.
For breastfeeding and getting pregnant and childbirth. Yes.
And also, it's a very strong parent-child bonding. And of course, I say for the ladies, but it's also men-related. So don't think that it's only for that. It promotes trust, empathy, the bonding of relationship. Increased levels is directly related to physical affection. So when you hug somebody, when you squeeze them and they smile, and that is a direct relation to what we call the love hormone. And last but not least, it's the one that most people recognize right away is the body's natural pain reliever, which is
dopamine.
Nope, endorphins.
Endorphins. Okay.
Endorphins. And this is produced as your direct relate to stress. So if I stress you out and your discomfort, endorphins kick in and they kind of relieve you. They're the pain relief mentally and physically. And the levels are increased when you engage in reward activities like eating, workouts, also that adult thing that they do in the bedrooms, that type of thing. Those are directly related to endorphins. Right.
What about cortisol?
Well, cortisol is one that happens when you are in pain. So this is a direct relationship to pain management. So when somebody pricks you or you have an internal pain, cortisone, and you can remember that cortisone that they do for the medicine.
But this one is actually
no. This one is inside of you, but they have it as a name for the medicine also. So that to show the correlation between pain relief and that
and your hormone
and your hormones. So that as you and this is the fun thing I tell people, learn about your body. That there are remember they used to have a commercial, 2,000 parts of your body. It was like, no, it's not 2,000. Learn about these things because you'll be surprised once you know what you're looking for, how directly it's related.
Yes, they're all relatable. It is.
Exactly. And this helps you, do things like maximize your workout. You're working out and you're, not feeling good, because you need a few friends with you. Do that. Get some sun. Get some vitamin D. And I laugh all the time. I said, that boosts your serotonin.
You know what's fun, Chuck?
Mm-hmm.
Karaoke.
Oh, karaoke has so many benefits.
Yes. Then none of them come with a recording deal, but they come with benefits.
They come with benefits. and this is something that goes back to certain activities produces all of these in various ways. So you have the ability to have some friends around. You have the ability to laugh. You have the ability to sing. You have the ability to hug people and be around. That camaraderie releases these hormones, these happy hormones that allow you to laugh. You know, the old saying, laughter is the best medicine.
It is.
You
yes.
know, and that is actually very, very true. Even, cooking a meal, cooking and being able to eat certain foods, and now don't take me for
No, but you know what I actually like? I like to cook and to share the food. I like to see people actually eating the food. It makes me so happy. What doesn't make me happy is cooking the food and no one to eat the food. And then I decide I'm not cooking any more food right now.
Right now, exactly. Because in certain foods trigger certain hormones. Spicy foods may trigger endorphin release. So they say, chocolate and things of that nature. A few foods have dopamine release: yogurt, beans, eggs, meat, with low fat content. Almonds are a great substance for dopamine release. We also have foods that have been linked to releasing hormones like probiotics, yogurts, kimchi, sauerkraut. Those are directly related to releasing these. And so people eat them and they feel better. And they wonder, oh man, I love spicy food. Why do you love spicy food? Because it releases these things.
Yeah.
And you don't think about it. The same thing with like music and meditation.
Yes.
They boost up the level. So when
They also have here in our little researchy thingies, the dopamine levels are typically well regulated within the nervous system. When these levels get dysregulated, you may develop a mood disorder like depression.
And it's directly related to certain things. So when you're having a bad day and you think, oh, why am I having a bad day? Well, because you didn't eat enough food that gave you the energy to do this.
Like enough protein, yeah.
Right.
Because it's mostly the protein-rich foods that seem to actually having the levels of tyrosine that is needed in order to produce the dopamine.
Right.
Yes.
And once again, fuel is your food. Food is your fuel. So when you're putting, and I say this, processed foods, the stuff that we know that just fills you up but doesn't have substance.
Yeah.
When you do that, you get depressed. The energy level comes down.
Yeah.
So when someone is working out and they're having these high foods with yogurts, beans, these foods that
But
are
some of
known.
these foods actually keep you alert. Like these ones that have the dopamine, that's actually the hormone that actually keeps you kind of more alert. So so at the times when you actually need to sleep, you probably need not the dopamine.
Right. And the same thing, planning a romantic evening. Well, take into consideration what you're doing and how to boost that feeling of that euphoric feeling. So certain foods trigger these. So they say, oh, we're going to dinner. And, they always say, what's that? Not oysters or whatever. Those. Now, mind you. Aphrodisiacs. Now, I'm not saying that they do or they don't, but it is
suggested
that these things. So be mindful of that.
Yep.
And even as we said, having a good night's sleep, set aside 7 to 9 hours each night for sleeping to restore and balance these hormones. So be mindful that decrease in caffeine. Don't be drinking caffeine in the afternoon. And because, we wake up in the morning, we have caffeine in the morning. And even, people have tea, afternoon tea.
Tea, yes.
Have
but a
caffeine
lot of
free
tea. Because a lot of teas are caffeinated and they have high contents of caffeine as well.
And you don't think about it, but then when you come down to the evening hours and you
you're
can't sleep
and
you're restless, there's a direct relation to the caffeine that you've put in your body, 2 or 3 hours before. So just be mindful of this, folks. We want you to be the best you that you can be. And also that means having the information to make informed decisions. And that's what we're all about.
Yes.
And with that being said, it's time for us to take our leave. We're so glad that you've been here with us listening to Your Health, Your Wealth compliments of BAF Insurance.
With Desiree.
And my name is Chuck Taylor. Don't forget, you can find us on all of the streaming services.
Spotify, YouTube. And we also want you to like and subscribe and share with your friends, because these episodes are so helpful and they're free. It's all free information, and you can share it and you can go back and re-listen to it. And it's just been a real pleasure having you with us this morning.
You're listening to Your Health, Your Wealth right here with BAF Insurance.
This program is brought to you as a community service of BAF Insurance. The views, opinions, and advice expressed by guests on this show are those of the guests and do not reflect the views, opinions, and advice of BAF Insurance. For medical advice, please visit your medical professional.
Your health, your wealth, your health, your wealth, your health for life. Your Health, Your Wealth is brought to you by BAF Insurance. Your health, our priority.